Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. This time I've been drawing Mark+Ethan, and I wanted to show you what materials I've used. As I'm a German person, you might not get the same materials I got, but basically something quite similar, I guess, in your country as well. First of all, I want to start with the paper, and I used the Weng Universal paper for different kinds of styles actually. What this paper is, and I hope you can see it in the video as well, it has quite some textures. Just a second, I zoom in a bit. So it looks like a bit like a canvas type of paper, but I just want to be sure it has a bit more texture than smooth paper actually. What I else used are my charcoal pencils, which are a peel and sketch charcoal pencil, which can be used in different versions. It has a soft, a hard and a medium core, so basically I do not really care about which one I use. They work basically the same for the technique that I use. This is how the pencil looks when used. Actually you peel just the cover when the lead is used too much, and you can sharpen it. I do sharpen it if I need a point with a regular pencil sharpener, or if you just need to sharpen a bit of it, I have this little block of sanded paper where you can just make a point or sharpen the pencil itself a bit. What else do I use? I have, for my technique, as you will see in the video later, I have some brushes. These are just regular brushes that you use for paintings. Here I have the Da Vinci Nova Synthetic series, which works great fine for me. Do not wonder, once I started with these brushes, they looked kind of like regular brushes. As the texture is quite rough, you will tear your pencils and brushes apart. So in the beginning it looks like this, in the end it will look more like these ones. They just work fine, but well, in a couple of weeks I might need some new ones. I just have different sizes of them, just to be sure to have different coverage on the paper itself. The bigger one is for smoother shadows, and the smaller ones are for details. What else? This thing here comes kind of handy. It is pencil, rubber, let's say. There's a soft side and a harder side. You can sharpen it like a regular pencil, and it works quite nice for details. I have a blending stump. It in a way works similar like the brushes do, but especially for the larger areas for shading, this one makes a bit muddy, smeary effect, so I prefer to have the brush. I have this makeup brush. This is quite useful to clean the paper and get rid of some rubber things when you make the details. It is always a good idea not to use your hands to clean the paper, as it makes in the first place your hand dirty, and it leaves residues on the paper which you do not really want. If you press your thumb on the paper and it's not really clean, and you cover it with charcoal dust, you will see it in the end. So you cannot really work around it, and so it's best to not use your hand to clean something. Also quite useful is just use some kind of paper, put it on your artwork where you can sit your hand on. It can basically be any kind of paper, just something to cover up your hand and your arm. If you're in the US, there is something called glassine. This is basically one of the best versions, as nothing sticks to the paper. If you're not able to get glassine, you can also use transparent paper, which is quite common, I think, or baking paper works as well. So just to show you short how my technique works, which is quite easy, I think, but you will see in the video later as well. I do usually work from the darkest versions, the darkest parts of the drawing itself. Just let's make a line here. And then I use one of my brushes just to go in the shadings. Good thing is, if you do it this way, every portrait or every drawing or whatsoever always has the darkest areas. So when you go there and begin with darkest areas, you already have your darkest value. And you only have one color, so it is not that hard to shade things instead of having, I don't know, 7 different pencils from H to B, where you have different kinds of results from each pencil. So you just have the one color, and you can slowly build up your shadows. To go for an iris, for example, I mostly start with the outer portion, then just the pupil itself, and then you can begin shading. There is no real way you can create these lighter areas with the pencil directly. So you have to use some kind of technique like this one or this one. It can be used the same way. So you can also use the blending stump to make your shadows, or you can. There's also some charcoal residue on the blending stump, so you can just do stuff with this one as well, which is more harder with the brush. So it's like dry brushing actually. So the more often you go over an area, the darker it will become. But as there's only very, very little charcoal on the brush, it builds up very slowly. So or like the bigger one. And the longer the brush hairs actually are, the more charcoal it can hold. So have this in mind. And if you have larger areas, you can use the larger brush just to build up the shadowed areas. So if you just need more charcoal powder, you can use the sandpaper version, or if you have sharpened your charcoal, it will give you some of these powdery stuff as well. So keep it, and you can put your brushes into it and use it for the shadows. For the details, you can use just, actually it works with any eraser, but with this one you can use a sharp point. So if you have a kneaded eraser, you can knead it in the position that you need it. This one always gets a sharp point when you sharpen it. So it works quite well. Where it works not very well is in the really dark areas, so we will not be able to lighten up this back to the paper. If you need a more rough side, you can use the white one. So whatever you prefer more. Basically, that's it. So enjoy the video. If you have any questions, just let me know, and I will be happy to answer them directly to you. So enjoy the video. Thank you. Hi guys, this is me from the future talking to you in the past. As this was my first video recorded, I totally forgot something. You can use the same technique as I'm showing here for different kinds of papers, and therefore I wanted to show you 2 different drawings that I did. The couple one was done on a smooth surface, and the football guy was done on the same paper that I've shown you in this tutorial here. You will see that both have kind of realistic look. On the smooth paper it looks more like a photo, which is a slight difference compared to the textured one, but you will also have a harder time to achieve this look. The smoother paper is less forgiving with this technique, and you cannot layer as much as can on the textured paper. What you will have to keep in mind, once you have drawn your first layer, you will have to fix it and increase the contrast on the darkest areas again. So you will need 2 or 3 layers to get the darkest areas really as dark as the charcoal can get. And yeah, you need to fix it in between with a charcoal fixative or whatever you would like to need. I recommend not using hairspray. It will work as well, but if you plan to sell your works, you better don't, because you never know how the hairspray itself will change in the next 20 years if it gets yellow or whatsoever. So you better use an artist grade fixative for it.